What's going on, y'all? Psych Perspectives, giofvcks. Cheers. Cheers. So, in this video, I just want to discuss it's okay to cry. It's okay to show emotion. I feel like this really needs to be said, especially in the Black community, especially to Black and brown people, people of color, people in general, and really to our men and masculine folks, our cisgendered, transgendered, non-binary, to our men, to our boys, to our masculine people, and to everybody really. But I'm highlighting those groups because when I look within the Black community, it's like boys in particular, masculine people in particular, but are constantly being told, don't cry, don't show emotion, don't show feelings. Crying is for girls, crying is weak, crying is for punks. And what ends up happening oftentimes is that you're teaching that person, oftentimes that little boy, that he can't be open and free. He can't express himself. And he's going to be seen as being weak if he shows any emotion that is seen as being feminine, seen as, being something that girls do. And then it also highlights how misogyny works, how sexism works, how patriarchy works, man. Like you're really telling this little boy, this human being, that they're not supposed to have emotions. They're not supposed to cry. They're not supposed to feel pain. They're not supposed to feel sadness. They're not supposed to feel hurt. They're not, and then later on, that little boy, that human being grows up and they become an adult. And that little boy is now a man, or, however they identify. And they grow up, and now they go out in the world, and they're supposed to be, talking and meeting new people and friends and relationships and significant others and what have you. And they're navigating the world mad with repented, just pent up anger, frustration, sadness, pain, sorrow, hate, jealousy. All this is just pent up. They don't know how to express themselves. This is why a lot of times, especially with men, especially with cis men in particular, and masculine people, our communication skills tend to be trash. Because again, and then going back, not just on the gender, now I'm tying in race, ethnicity, culture, heritage. I'm tying all this in now because within the Black community, even it doesn't matter what your gender is, we have a hard time showing emotions outside of anger, right? And we can be angry, or we gonna fight a person, we'll stab and shoot and kill each other left and right, but we not finna sit down and have that one-on-one conversation about what the real problem is. We not really finna communicate. We not really finna express how we're feeling. Oh, no. But we will have pent-up anger and aggression. Then you look in the Black community, you got all these kids running around shooting and killing each other left and right. Let me just stop saying kids, because it's from all ages. People can be 5 years old, they can be 30, 50, 60 years old. When you look at our communities, it's a lot of anger and frustration. For various reasons though, right? Psych perspectives. Various reasons, right? Because we have systemic oppression knocking at us from all angles. You feel me? Uppercuts, right, lefts. They kick him in this kickboxing, this war out here. They hitting us from all angles. So you got racism, you got, sexism and misogyny, you got classism, you got the homophobia, you got the transphobia, you got a lot of shit going on top of trauma. And the trauma is just generation after generation after generation. And that's why I'm making this video. We can work together to break these cycles of trauma, to prevent the next generation from being heartless, lacking empathy, not knowing how to communicate properly in a healthy, functioning manner. Because, you know, a lot of time, like I said, and then you wonder why the man, he can't open up to his partner. He can't open up to his friends. He carrying, and like I said, a lot of times because we don't communicate, we carry all of this within. So all this, I'm carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders, when in reality, if I would just open up my mouth and say I need help, or I'm scared, or I'm sad, or this is what's going on, this is why I'm doing this. We don't do that though, because we don't communicate. Because again, that's seen as weak, right? Men are masculine folks, and then in the black community, we're strong. You know, even strong black woman, I do it all. Strong black man, I'm alpha male. Umar Johnson style. But in the meantime, so many of us have severe mental health issues. So many of us are going to run into these types of people who are not able to communicate, who are not able to show emotions outside of anger. Then you wonder why, when we get upset, the first thing we tend to do is what? We're aggressive with it. We're violent. Then you wonder why you got domestic violence. And like I said, niggas is killing each other left and right. In the communities, the rappers are being basically taken out. I mean, and it's crazy to me how we see this and we grow up with this and we think this is normal. And now I'm just looking at it like, when you think about it, in the black community, in the brown community, in people of color communities, we've always had mass shootings. We just didn't call them mass shootings. What the fuck you think drive-bys are, bro? Like, you know, that's a mass shooting. Everybody's, like, literally, people will be at the park kicking it with their family and friends. And the next thing you know, here comes a random car spraying at everybody in the damn park. Or at the parking lot. Or just chilling at the street. You in front of the house chilling and somebody just come through. What is that, y'all? What is that? Are you at the club and somebody just started popping off? We've always had mass shootings. We just didn't call it that. We just didn't call it that. You know, just didn't call it that. And then like all this gang stuff and fighting over territory. But again, why are we doing this? No, I'm not giving it an excuse, but let's look at the systems that be. The systemic oppression is there. You know, people are living in poverty and going without basic needs: food, water, shelter, healthcare, education. You know, people don't have their basic needs are not being met. So it really is, it's, you know, when you look at what's happened to the black community, the brown community, people of color communities, across this country, across this world, indigenous people, it really is systemic genocide. That's what it is, right? Like, generation after generation, decade after decade, century after century, it's the same shit. You know, we've been starved out of resources and opportunities. So everybody's fighting over breadcrumbs. We're fighting over crumbs. And we're killing each other fighting over these crumbs. And then we're blamed for, it's just like, it's a very toxic, cyclical cycle of oppression. I mean, it's just, you know, and we have opportunities to break those cycles, is all I'm saying. So let your boys cry. Let them show some tears. Let them cry. Let them feel pain. Let them say, I'm hurt, and this is why I'm hurt. And listen. Everything isn't him being weak. Ain't nothing weak about him crying. Ain't nothing weak about her crying. Ain't nothing weak about them crying. Let everybody cry. Let everybody show emotion. Let's all learn how to say, look, man, you hurt me. And this is how you hurt me. And this is how I took it. And then be willing to listen and have that communication and be willing to hear each other out and communicate. Because a lot of us, we just be like, you know, because we don't know how to communicate. Nobody taught us. And then, like I said, a lot of us grow up in households where, like I said, you fell, or you got hurt or anything. I always say this, and I get why. Because when you look at the trauma from slavery on down, I get why. But we have to work somewhere to break these cycles, because right now this is bad, bro. I can say, like, I'm almost 30 in 2 years, and I really don't know how to communicate. 2 years, shit, a year and 10 months, and I really really know how to communicate, and I'm learning that through therapy, because for the longest I was just kind of like, but then you realize, like, damn, no, because like I said, in my household, what communication? What communication? You know, outside of people yelling, arguing, and fighting, fussing. Again, dysfunctional. That and like somebody, I was reading something somewhere, and they basically said, you know, dysfunction, you know, and then the trauma, after a while, that becomes a culture. And when you look at the Black culture, we always know struggle and pain. That's a part of our culture, because it's the same trauma, the same dysfunction, the same oppression, generation after generation after generation. And that shit is hereditary. That shit is in us. And then we're living in it constantly. There's not a break from the trauma. So it's like a lot of pain. This is why I'm a big, you know, I'm always talking about, I am a big proponent for mental health and universal health care. I think everybody deserves access to affordable, accessible, and inclusive health insurance coverage that covers your physical and mental, your holistic, your whole body. Okay? And mental health is a big thing. We need it badly in the Black community, in the brown community, and people of color communities, the LGBTQ plus, the white communities, the lower income, the middle class. Everybody needs this. This is about quality of life. This is about saving lives. This is about making sure that our world is safe and just for everyone, not just a few. Okay? But anyways, let your boys cry, let your men cry, let your women cry, let masculine people cry, let feminine people cry, let everybody cry, let everybody communicate and express themselves. Okay? Anyways, I'm out.